All right, this is Jared Cohen with Cohen Academy. Going to do how I set up my paddle. So this is one already set up. I use the Gearbox Pro Ultimate Elongated. They just sent one in the mail for me. I'm a sponsored player with them. Used the Pro Power for a while. But what I like about this is it's 16 millimeter, but kind of feels like a 14 of anything else. It's easier to shape the ball than the Pro Power, but still has very good power when you need it, especially after it breaks in. So here it is. The big thing that I do with this versus any other paddle is that it actually comes a little head heavy stock versus what I normally like. So what I'll do is I'm going to put some rings of lead tape into the base of the handle, and I'll show you how I do it. And that makes it a little bit more balanced. So you get to see how I do this from start to finish. Also, Gearbox grips are especially thin, so I'll put 2 over grips on, where normally I would just do 1 for most paddles. So it's only 4 inches in terms of diameter. All right, here we go. So first I'll just take a ring of lead. Tungsten is definitely better. I'm just out of it. Maybe Pickleball Effect will sponsor me if he's listening. Love you, Braden. All right, so I'll just make a little notch here where I need to cut it. There we go. And I just put 2 rings around the bottom of the handle. You'll see how I do it here. So just right here. And people are worried, is this going to make the handle flare out? Honestly, not really. I think it actually is a little better if you do this with tungsten. It seems like the ring is a little tighter. But this should do the trick. All right, there's one, and then measure out another one just above that. Okay. The one thing that's nice about the lead though is that you can get a huge roll for cost of definitely less. So if you're going through paddles all the time like me, it's a little more cost-effective option, but the tungsten is definitely a more premium option. All right, so see, it's just 2, and this is 1/2 gram per inch. And I can't find my scale, but I've weighed these out a bunch, and they usually come around 8.8, which sounds really high, but if you put weight here, it affects it very little in terms of the actual swing weight. Versus if you put it up here, it affects it a lot. So I haven't even been putting electrical tape up here. That's what Pickleball Effect said, where he doesn't even want to do that because it definitely adds swing weight when you put stuff up there. I don't know if I would recommend that to most of you guys, but I feel like I'm going through like a paddle a month, and I'm just trying to be super careful with it, especially since it's edgeless. So I've got Tourna grip here. In the summer in Jacksonville, Florida, you kind of need something like this. ADV is very good. I don't like the feel, but it's very good in terms of sweat. U-Drippin', I'm an ambassador with them. I really like their tacky grips. It's just not great in the summer, but I just bought a pack. Hopefully it's cooling off now that it's October. The annoying thing about Tourna grip is it has no sticky part to start, so you just have to be really good. Another pro tip, I go with my left hand, because I'm lefty, wrapping it around this way. So if you're righty, obviously you're going to do the opposite. So try to wrap it really tight, especially to lock in all that lead. And then I try to also wrap it super thin. Try to make the bevels really tight to where it is as it's going up. And then the other thing I like to do is wrap it as high as I physically can. I like the feeling of my grip being as long as possible. I hit a lot of two-handed shots, and it just feels better having grip up there versus just your hands on the paddle. With these gearboxes, you can't do it quite as much, but I really try to go as high as I possibly can. So, just rip it off, and then, where's my tape? Here we go. Tape it on. All right, that's one. So yeah, that's my pro tip. If you use a gearbox, which I think has the thinnest grip of about any paddle, maybe like a Pro Kennex, I would go 2 grips. But like Yola, Paddle Tech, I don't know, pretty much anything else, you don't need to do this. In fact, some you may have to take off the stock grip and just do 2 over grips. But with this, you know, I could probably get away with this, but I think it feels a little better with 2. Make sure you take these things off before you start gripping, because it's hard to take this thing off while also holding the grip as you're finishing it. These Turner grips are super hard because there's no like notch here. You gotta have really good fingernails to get it. There we go. Okay, I just have that on the side ready to go. All right. Some things people do is they do it like this, and then I'll go back and forth. I kind of did it the other way on the first one, but I think you can get it a little bit higher, and it's a little nicer not having to tear it, but you have to do this method if you have scissors, otherwise it's not great. So I'll get it to like this, and then I'll trim down the top. There you go. All right, so now I'm gonna take my old paddle, measure out how much lead I put on it. So we go here. All right. And if you line these up, You want to get it exact for each side. Keep it even. Tell you something funny. Every gearbox has this little notch right here. So you put lead over it and people think that, you know, there was like an extra piece of lead there, but in reality, all it is just the, I guess for like warranty purposes, like what model number this paddle is. Alright. And if you buy this paddle and it doesn't seem that powerful out of the box, just give it a week or 10 days. I promise you it'll heat up. Even the sound changes a little bit how it hits. So just don't be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this isn't like a power paddle or whatever. You just gotta hit with it for a little bit and then it'll heat up. Alright. So every paddle is different. You gotta, you know, go out on the court, tinker with it, try different things. This is how I like mine. If it's a little hotter, maybe I put a little more. If it's cold out, using Duras or Vulcans, maybe take down a little bit. If a paddle isn't that powerful, then maybe you gotta go to here, or maybe even a little up top. I just don't do too much of that because it slows my hand speed down. But if a paddle feels like slow in the hands for you stock, which is especially these ultimates, those rings down here I feel like really help. Another thing is if you're having like tennis elbow or wrist issues, I think having a little thicker grip can help. Not like crazy, but you know, you can look at the gap and see that it's not too big for me. Well, hope you like this video, and send to your friends if they want to see how to set up the Gearbox Ultimate. Take care.